Now before we begin, everybody, I would just like to give a huge thank you to PlayStation for actually granting me a free early review code of the Turf Wars DLC for Marvel's Spider-Man exclusively for PlayStation 4. Without the support from PlayStation, Insomniac, Marvel, and of course all of you amazing viewers, this video would never be possible, so thank you all so much for everything. And without further ado, everybody, let's jump right into this review.
Thing is, I'm a gentleman. You'd have knocked. You could have come right in. But you had to go and sneak around. Time to bring the fear back. Good evening, New York. Welcome to tonight's entertainment. The changing of the guard. Tonight, the good old days are coming back.
Now, if you're aware of Spidey's multitude of foes, you'll know that he has gone up against some pretty powerful enemies from time to time. And even though Spider-Man's a big-time superhero, that doesn't mean that he can't go up against some lower-tier villains within his rogues gallery. But even though he may be seen as a lower threat from some people, he still packs quite a punch within this DLC. And of course, I'm talking about Hammerhead, who is indeed the main antagonist of the second chapter of the City That Never Sleeps pack, Turf Wars. Hammerhead first appeared in a 1970s Amazing Spider-Man comic book as an organized crime boss, known for his obsession with the mob's glory years and a surgically enhanced steel skull. In Marvel's Spider-Man Turf Wars, Hammerhead has declared war against the dons of the Maggia crime family and is using equipment left by Sable International's occupation of Marvel's New York. Spider-Man and the police chief Yuri Watanabe must team up to end the violence that has erupted throughout the city. Now, funny enough, even though the Heist DLC primarily focused on Felicia Hardy's character, Turf Wars does something a bit different. Even though Hammerhead is the main villain of this story, he doesn't appear too often throughout the entirety of Turf Wars, but mainly rather only in the beginning and during the very end for a really interesting boss fight. And as a way to expand the narrative, we do get more of an insight to Insomniac's interpretation of Yuri Watanabe as well as her relationship with Spider-Man. So even though I don't want to give too much away due to spoilers, I will say that you will really like what Insomniac does with Yuri Watanabe's character, but I'm not too happy that we only got a small portion of Hammerhead throughout the entirety of Turf Wars. As for the overall content that you get within this pack, I do think that this is a major improvement compared to what we received within the Heist. Instead of going after repeated collectibles scattered throughout New York, as well as a MJ mission that seemed to only be there for filler that we received within the Heist, Turf Wars gives you only Spider-Man related content as well as a bunch of new bases that you can fight enemies with throughout the city. And alongside of Hammerhead's bases featuring some very detailed interior designs as well as new henchmen that are pretty tough to fight, you also have brand new crimes scattered throughout New York City. This can range from using the Spider-Bot in pretty innovative ways, as well as transporting convoys carrying witnesses that are going against the Maggia crime family, and of course the return of Screwball with new challenges added to the city. Now, even though I don't like Screwball as a character, the challenges that she provides on a gameplay standpoint are actually pretty entertaining to pull off and very intricate as well. And of course, to wrap up all the new story and gameplay content that you receive within Turf Wars, you of course get 3 brand new suits with the Spider Armor Mark 1 as well as the Spider Clan suit and the original Iron Spider armor. Now, in my opinion, these suits are much more of an improvement than what we received within the Heist DLC, and if these suits are any indication of what we might receive within Silver Lining, I'm really excited to see what those potential suits are going to be. So in the end, I do appreciate the new gameplay features and suit additions that were included within Turf Wars. I am a bit disappointed of the lack of Hammerhead throughout the entirety of this DLC pack. And once again, to avoid spoilers, Hammerhead's boss fight was something I was not expecting at all. Even though it was entertaining, it still didn't feel right in the context of the character. So even though I do like the overall gameplay additions and new suits that were added within Turf Wars, I think it could have benefited from more time spent with Hammerhead as a character as well as expanding his character a bit more. But even with the lack of Hammerhead throughout Turf Wars' story, the main upside to this is the chemistry that you receive between Spider-Man and Yuri Watanabe. And given everything I've stated about Turf Wars, I would personally rank the second chapter of the City That Never Sleeps pack a solid 8 out of 10. While I definitely prefer the overall gameplay and suit additions that were featured within Turf Wars, I would actually prefer the Heist DLC story more than what we got within this one. Not to say that the Turf Wars story was bad by any means, but I still think that we could have expanded about the depths of Hammerhead's character a bit more throughout Turf Wars' narrative. Although seeing how the main story for Turf Wars ranges at about an hour and a half, as well as the overall DLC clocking in about over 3 hours, I do think that is a fair fair time length for a DLC pack. And with 2 chapters down and 1 more remaining, Silver Lining has a lot to live up to in order to conclude the story that the City That Never Sleeps has set up. And no matter what that pack will entail, I'm just really excited to see this conclusion of this expanded story for Marvel's Spider-Man. But anyways guys, that's the review I have for Marvel's Spider-Man Turf Wars, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comments section down below. What are your thoughts on the Turf Wars DLC, and given everything that we have received within this pack, are you excited for the conclusion of the City That Never Sleeps within Silver Lining releasing in December? For me, the main problem about Turf Wars is that Hammerhead wasn't expanded enough in my opinion, so hopefully in Silver Lining they can do that a bit more with whichever character is going to be featured in that pack. But like I previously said, I'm really excited to see how that story will play out, as well as of course the new suits that will be added within that final pack. But anyways guys, thank you all so much for watching. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans. Peace out.
Who used to run this joint? Silverman? Machio?
Silverman, yeah. He processed and cleaned cars that ran hits through here.
Clean? Like
Scrubbing for prints. Sometimes scoop out the brains and blood. Get the road ready again.
why not just take them upstate and burn them?
Hey, that's not environmentally friendly. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
It's just the mob, you know.
Just because we're outside the law, don't mean we hate Mama Earth, bro.